Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Business Building Blocks. Today, this show is now taking a new turn going forward. You know why? Because I realized I can't do this myself. So I've gone to beg my friend and my mentor of several years, Dr. Seyi Olufemi. So it's going to be more interactive. It's a no-hold bar. We'll try to make it as practical as possible. That's why I just thought that let's spice things up a bit. But the whole idea, the whole objective for us is to be able to help people based on our own experience, to be able to build. What we're looking at, as the name implies, business building block, is for us to be able to see the critical essential for building a lasting and a thriving business. And before you go, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us across all social media platforms as Business 360 TV. But also, very importantly, follow myself at Didami Olanrewaju across all social. Follow Dr. Seyi Olufemi to be on your screen. Follow us and make sure you turn notification on so that when we drop new content, you can get it. Thank you so much for joining. We'll go straight into it. So, Doc, thanks for finally agreeing to do this.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Today we're on Model 4. And it has to do with product market fit.
Okay.
And again, this thing has been said a lot. It's almost like, at times when things has been said and you're even confused about what the exact definition is. So from two standpoints, because it's a word that was actually picked from tech.
Okay.
But our audience is not only primarily tech people. Do you think product market fit is relevant also for non-tech traditional brick and mortar company?
It's relevant across every sector, not just tech. No matter what you do, from offering bricklaying service up to even if you are manufacturing a weapon, it's an essential component. Otherwise, you're not going to sell, or you're going to struggle if you try not to. It's just like for what you offer. I'm sure you've been excited about products that you just realize that there's no market for it.
Yeah.
And there are products you are testing out that you don't think about it and it takes off.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now we have something. So it's the power of that fit across everything you do.
But why is this so difficult? Because, every conference you go to on tech or any podcast is about eating product market fit, yada, yada. Why is it? What do you think is the number one reason why people don't get product market fit or fail to achieve it on time? That's if they don't even die before. Because you've had several companies, they'll say, we're shutting down because they couldn't eat product market fit, or before they try to eat product market fit, they've finished their runway. New investors are supposed to come on board. I'm sure you know about the latest crash in the in the tech market last week. One other company has shut down again. I've even forgotten their name.
Oh, okay.
And they're saying that everything you find out that everybody eats. Why do people spend money indefinitely, waste money that you don't? What happens between that excitement and the thesis and maybe millions of dollars being wasted?
I think it happens to all of us, and I'm sure it's happened to you, and I'm going to ask you examples of some of those things because you're going to confess today. I think the first thing is that humility is one of the most powerful tools an entrepreneur should have. And you realize that the market doesn't give a hoot about your product.
I get you.
The product you're excited about. It cares only about products that are relevant to it. So you need to be able to differentiate that. Most entrepreneurs, but let me not say most, a lot of entrepreneurs are, first of all, carried away with the excitement of products that they're launching. And they are so close to the tree, they lose sight of the forest. So they think that because they're excited by that product, then everybody should be excited. And then you get into the market, you realize that people are not excited, but you can't even see that they're not excited until you try to convince the market. There's a place for convincing the market. Let's hope we get there. But in most
Primarily.
instances, it's nearly impossible. I always say when I take sales related training that the job of a salesperson is not to convince. The job of a salesperson is to find those who are already convinced.
You said that
to offer the
for
product.
me. That was counter. I never shared the opinion, but that makes sense to me.
To
when
find
I
the
thought
people who are
about it.
convinced, who need it, and then align them with the product. But we miss it a lot of time because we think that because we're excited, the market should be excited. And then we keep pushing and pushing and you don't get that response. But the fine line I would mention to you is that sometimes the market may not just be ready and they are simmering demand. So you need to be able to balance that out.
I get you.
And how do you know that the market may not be ready? Is because you need to look at there are 2 or 3 layers of people that will buy any product. The early believers validate your reason. And then the other ones follow after. But when you don't have early believers apart from your family and friends, and those who want to use it because they haven't pity on you, then you need to actually retweak. The last thing I would say is that sometimes you go to the market with products you're excited about, but you need to now quickly iterate to what the customer seems to like. And you can see the example. The most significant example that is coming ready to mind is PayPal. PayPal, we're targeting a whole lot of market. Nobody really was taken until when they targeted the merchants that were on eBay at that time, because there was need for faster settlement. And then they honed down on that group, and then that was the beginning of the story. The rest, as they say, is history. So maybe I will throw a question to you and ask you that. Have you ever been so enamored with a product, you love the product and you try the product, but the product was not just taken? But the question I want you to answer is not just yes or no. It's the fact that what was the product? How long did it take you to realize that this product is not going to work? And what did you do? Did you rest the product? Did you iterate? And if you iterated, was the second version more successful? You need to talk about that, so that it's not just about.
I get you. So for me, as you know, there's even our agency's real proper start was 2018.
Okay.
And we're an accidental agency, marketing agency, like I said.
Okay.
Because what we initially started out to do is not what we at least primarily were doing now, which is we started Nigeria Business TV. The assumption, the passion. I can't even say I probably identify something in the market, but I've always loved. I was reading a lot of Forbes Africa. I love CNBC Africa. My background was TV, multi-choice. I interacted with a lot of TV channels too. So, and that led me to move to one of the major TV network in Nigeria. They have about 8 TV stations and about 4 radio stations. So I knew I couldn't run pay TV, but I thought maybe I could run media. And so we started. It didn't take us more than 1 month for us to realize that it's like, we're even going to go bankrupt if we continue this way. And that's why we started moving our resource, right, to what's it called? To the agency, which also even had its own initial teething. We started getting traction the second year, but was not really like what we intended. But I can say categorically by the 4th, 5th year, we're able to eat it, But the second part of the story, of course, is that we've tried about 3 times now to relaunch that idea. In fact, so part of the thing I need to tell you now, so that you don't abuse me, I want to pivot now again. For the second time, I'm still looking at it. It's been a lot. I didn't sleep. I slept till 3 today. The products that I want to launch has always been on the front burner for me for the last even 7 to 10 years. In fact, as far back as 2015 was when I knew that there's a business case. By 2018, I know. Now, the conflict for me now is that should I still retain this current one? Yeah, we're seeing traction. So, or should I morph? Whatever happens, the conclusion is that I'm still going to run, even if I retain Business 360 as a media platform, I'm going to pick some human resource. I want to reduce the team to move and work on this product because I'm not ready to get a new set of HR. So I believe they can still run. I can still pick 3 people and they'll be fine. And whenever they reach, but this one, I know about the dynamics around it, but I'm not saying it to absolutely work, but I can guarantee you that this one has a path to profit. Like clearly, you know where you're going to break even. There's certain things you just know. You know there are ways around it. So, but the bottom line is that as we still speak, so talking about the main thing, which is Nigeria Business TV, at some point we turned it to even a lifestyle content. We said, no, that's not our DNA. But as of now, yeah, we're getting traction in terms of if product market fit is maybe people giving you response and they like it and cool. But my own definition is the path to profit and the time where you start getting money. We've not started getting money. Yet millions of naira has gone into building out the product. So that's my own classic. It's an all-time example that, I've seen even in the middle of it.
There's a delicate balance between being disciplined to execute, even though it's not looking sexy at the moment, and pivoting away from what is not working. So it is that balance that we need to talk about. I could throw the question to you, but before I throw that question to you, I would want to say that it's easy to always think the new pivot will work. The question is, what are those metrics that you're going to use to judge whether the current is working? Most of us never do that. So before you pivot, I'm talking about you're looking at this product before you say this product is not working. From the beginning, what you should say is that we're launching this product. These are the metrics that we're going to use to measure. This is a conservative target we're going to reach. This is the tool or the resource we're going to deploy that should take us into that particular terrain. And then it doesn't have to be very significant target at the beginning or very ovation demanding kind of result. But those little results matter. You can see what you're doing. So for example, the story has it that Amazon never made profit for several years after, but they had metrics that were used to measure. Yeah. You understand? So, and then that's one. Number two is that we need to ask, are there models that are working and what exactly is the traction like? Because sometimes you might not just be quote unquote working because you are not yet known, you're not yet in the market, just get into the market. But if you go look at the market and you see what works, your chance of what you're doing, if it's similar working, is nearly 100%. You only need to execute right. Yeah. So
then time.
Yeah. So
definitely just time would. This I know from
I'm going to because I want to land on your pivot stuff. Yeah. So when you see something that is working, so you want to align and ask yourself, what are they doing right? I generally tell people that, and that's why I talk about humility before, that I don't mind being number 2 or even number 3 in a market that is established. Let the other first guy go break the wall and then I follow with due respect. I will even acknowledge that I copied your model, Klein and Sinker. I don't care. I'm good with being the second. I only want to do it a bit better. So it's risky to be in the first sometimes. So coming back is to say if the model is working, then there's a chance that there's a product market fit already. But if the product is not working and nobody has done it, you need to actually ask, why is nobody doing it? Then lastly, really, there's the element of gut, which is your internal or your inner conviction. Sometimes your heart will guide you where to go. You believe absolutely that this product is going to work. What I would encourage people in that scenario to do is to offer it, to do test cases and see the usage. If you do actual test cases and you are seeing the usage, then it becomes clear that there is a need for this one. I know it's tough to say do it free, and I try not to do that. But sometimes when you're convinced absolutely about a product and you are not seeing that market traction, you want to offer it and see how people use it. And the freemium model that's what you call the freemium model, proves a point that there is need for it. You understand? So that's another way to do it. The other thing that I would just say is that no matter what, I think you need to be careful about pivoting. You have pivoted like 56 times. And, if you're judging, you and your guys will be dizzy by now. You understand what I mean? So, and I thought that the agreement we had was there will be no new thing for the next 1 year until you've put a certain budget behind whatever it is. Which you never did. No. And then you are talking about pivots. It's not a conversation we're having.
So that's why
so there's no need to have that conversation.
But
we never would discuss it because the agreement we had was there was not going to be any pivot.
No, nothing has happened. That's what I'm saying. So let me explain.
Something has happened.
So it's not essentially
hold on, please. Hold on, please. Hold on, please.
So it's going to maintain status quo, but there's a way we play around.
We're saying there's no tweaking of any model for the next 1 year. Their basic budget you are supposed to apply to the current one.
That.
You are not running ads as of today, which is like the fundamental thing you're supposed to do. You've not done anything, and yet you're pivoting away. It's like aborting a child that is only born.
So maybe I should rephrase.
Born already, it's a mother. The president will say that you cannot abort a child that is
I
born.
think ultimately is not. Don't worry. So, but the whole idea is, I get the point.
Yeah, a classic case of don't over pivot. You understand?
So
somebody who is pivots. How do I put it? Somebody who has craze.
Pivot mania.
Pivot mania. I'm sure that you've done like 56 business models in the last 52 weeks. I'm sure that we have some of your guys in the studio. I'm sure. Am I correct?
No, but wait. Relative to that,
no, there's nothing
it's still
relative.
the same thing.
You are a bad example of if we're talking about pushing. Yeah, a terrible example. So let's not even use it. Let's go back to this conversation. Product market fit.
Yeah,
you are the worst example of any.
So people say something like,
you want us to change the topic. That's probably what you're saying.
No, but I can speak to it, but I just feel that
we're not interested in you speaking to it. Yeah.
The whole idea is that the thing is still there. That's constant. Maybe what I want to do is, let's call it resource control.
No, you're not doing any resource control. Let me tell you something, right? Sometimes when you have a model, the reason why you don't pivot for the sake of pivot, you don't wake up in the morning and because you have insomnia, you are not able to sleep. The next thing you come up with, which you usually do, you understand? is because it's not even because of the resource. It's because sometimes attention and your brain power is the most significant resource an entrepreneur has. And I've realized that if this guy is focused on that single direction consistently, and you are focused on 5, 6, 7, 8, he's gonna do a bit faster.
I got you.
So you need to find that unifying focus to have.
I think
and be disciplined not to
the lesson for the people in this my own case, which
don't over pivot, focus.
It will be to not have so many features.
No, it's not that.
In that sense, let's say you have a product, don't do so many features.
Because let me use you because I'm an observer. The lesson is that focus on few things and minimize changing so that you don't get dizzy. That is change dizziness. You understand? I'm sure. And then so that your people also will not be confused. So they're coming to work tomorrow from M360 is now Z21 500. You understand that kind of
I got you.
So that's the lesson I want you to learn from
my own situation. Okay. But the other stable part of things, well, we always have that part where you are still trying to find. So context for me is my M360 is my M360. It's always worked. It's always had the same model.
Why do I feel like you're trying to convince us that there's a reason for this your pivot?
The tech company has always been there. It's consistent. It's doing its thing.
It's antecedent.
This one is just the B360 thing, which we are going to figure out.
Let me ask you a question. Anyway. This is how you know. One of the ways you can actually work as an entrepreneur is take a survey amongst your people. So say how many of you are dizzy from pivoting. Anonymous data collection.
Even if you are not pivoting, they are always dizzy. So.
You understand? So if you take that, I can guarantee that 95% of the people say they are dizzy.
Good for them. Anyway.
It's not good because the point is you are just one out of that massive brain power, and you need to realize that sometimes you need that collective brain power to deliver too. the way to pivot sometimes and is to sit down and convince everybody about that, and it takes time. So you need to be careful.
No, I get you.
But you know, the conversation we had before now, sorry we're saying it in front of the entire world,
No, it's
was
good.
that there will be no tweaking for the next 1 year. So the discipline not
For
to
that
tweak
particular
is
product.
what is lacking.
Okay, I'm not tweaking that particular product.
Oh boy.
So, anyways, now there's something that people say. That's another thing I wanted to speak to. Some people will say there's nothing like product market fit, or they said there's product market fit, but it's actually product founders fit. You know, people come up with some things.
What's the meaning of that?
Yeah, they said, so the whole theory around markets founder fit is that the founder is the most critical element in the success of a particular idea. That some founders cannot see certain product or idea through to the market because of their temperament or even their passion towards the product. So people are saying that product is not the main thing, is the person pushing. And at times you can see the theory with some of these VCs. What they will say is that actually, I was still listening to Kola the other day, that essentially it backs up
the
founder.
context is different. The context is different. The context is different.
Then sorry, the last one, so that you attempt it, is there's also saying that there's nothing called product market fit. There's product, channel market fit. That the success of your products is not even is not on the product, is not even on the founder. It's about finding the right channel. I just think my thought is that some people at times, maybe in order for them to emphasize something, they want to almost like build a business case for it that is beyond what they ought to build. Otherwise, maybe what they are really saying is that, see, it's not only products that makes for market success, that the founder also counts. Maybe their staying power, temperament, domain expertise, and some other things that is founder specific. Then the channel guys are also saying, see, even if you get your product right, you have the right founder. If you don't channel, if you don't have the right distribution, because some people even tell you distribution is everything, especially in the age of AI where you can easily build a product, that the real winners will be the people that master distribution and channel. So, but for me, I just want to hear your central thought around that.
I think we should stay at the center of everything. Channel market feed, product market feed, and whatever it is. What is common to all these things you've mentioned is market.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So first of all, market is 50% of the journey.
That's true.
You understand? Every other thing is in the
once you get the market right,
once you get the market right, you're
essentially
done. So let me use an example. If you, and I'm going to use a very funny example. If you have a product that enhances sexual performance, that immediately you use it, you become the stud of every woman's dream. And I don't understand anything about distribution. I don't understand anything about founder. In fact, I'm a terrible person when it comes to founder. And I give it to you. And the feedback goes like, damn me, you're a beast. You are now a beast. You tell two friends who tried, and the testimony of the parties that they were engaged in is the same. And they gave it to 3-4 friends. What do you think is going to happen to that product?
Yeah, it'll move. The viral effect.
It will move. Now, the reason why it moved is because there's a market for it. In fact, if the product was in Abule Egba or in Ifo or in Benue State, you as Dami may not mind becoming the distributor for Lagos.
I get
you would create the channel that's required. You just tell the guy, just produce. Leave the rest of the distribution to me. So
like this guy will take over Ikorodu.
You understand? So the most important thing is, first of all, getting that market right, understanding the pulse of the market, understanding what it needs, and it doesn't matter how you feel about it. Right? So once you get that right, you have 50 to 60% chance of success. But you can now suffer while trying to succeed if you are not the right person. It becomes more difficult. And it also becomes more difficult if the channel is not right. What will take you 1 year can take you
Or
2
you
years.
can't even scale the channel because you
can't
don't
even
have the
scale
money.
it. You can't even scale it.
Yeah, so it
You
makes sense.
understand what I mean?
I think that I like that
So
perspective.
that's the way I see it. But the first thing is to realize that the market is the most important. So I do real estate, right? So the first question I ask is, where would people I'm targeting want to live? Where? So I never think about any other place outside where they would want to live. So once I get that right, the rest is easy. So we can keep tweaking the channel if I'm not getting results in one.
Makes sense.
But you will see enough results once the market is right.
So now that we say is the market, so maybe what we should be even talking about is understanding the market. But do you have do we call it fail-proof method of getting a market that makes sense? Because really, my frustration, even though people will still say, even with the right product, with the right market, you still need to market or sell.
Yeah.
But we all know that if you get the market right, sales and marketing becomes much more easier. Because I really, really just want to get to a place that people just come to me and I'm not doing any sales. Because the stress and the frustration, especially if you do B2B, is crazy. Like one of my guys still said today that, and I know that, but it's still frustrating nonetheless that, on the expense, they're on your revenue side. So that's why you're chasing crazy. But they're on the other side. Since it's expense, maybe you're on number 37 on their priority. But I still believe that's why you see some call in the middle of the night or early in the morning. Once a client needs something, they will come for it. Can you have an effect where, as you're by yourself, people are just coming for your product? Have you also had experiences that you can share to particular? But the real thing is the science around getting the right market.
I think it's a bit easy. It's just that there's what is lacking is empathy. You're a typical entrepreneur, you're aggressive, you're arrogant,
and selfish.
You think you can define the market. And then sometimes, depending on your product, because you love it, you assume everybody will love it. But you might just be a small sample frame. So I think the first thing in understanding the market is to understand who exactly do I want to serve. Most people never thoroughly define it in a very structured way. If you're doing B2C, you're saying, who do I want to serve? Income, age, gender, location. So for me, for example, say I want to serve people who are from their late 20s into their 50s, early 50s. They are mid to senior level executive who earn 5 million plus or minus. And above. They are the people that live in Lekki, they are Yaba, they work in VI, Ikoyi, Lekki Phase 1, Yaba, Ikeja. They want to live 15 to 20 minutes from where they work and the places they love to go. While they may love to be close to the city centers, they may not be able to afford lump sum cash payment because yes, they are high earning, they are HNIs, but they may not have that huge cash flow to drop at once. So because those are the people we've defined very clearly, it tells us where we can build or where we cannot build. So no matter what you give me today, I probably will find it very difficult to go and build in Mowe. Even though Mowe is fantastic, it's a growing area that the demand is increasing, but most of the customers will not go to Mowe, as the case may be. So once you define them like that, that's like half of the job. The second part of it is to now ask and speak to them. And then the third part is to ask, how do you make this product easier for them to access and to get value? And the fourth one is, how do you optimize and maximize the value that they get?
Yeah. So
I'm going to use our example. So because we're very clear, so the question we keep asking ourselves is, well, how do we make it easier for these people? But let me digress a bit. Because you understand the kind of people we're targeting, it means that as much as we will not go to Mowe, we're also not going to go to Ikoyi or Iko Atlantic, because the people we're serving will not leave there, may not be able to afford to live there right now. So we want, no matter the opportunity. So first of all, is the market is defined first. Then the second question is, how do we make it easier? Flexible payments, mortgage option, off-plan related structure will make it easier for them to access. So you can see how once you understand who, then how to make it easier for them. And then lastly, we now try to, the reason why we double down offline is because we want to be able to sell it at a bit of a discounted price to them so that they have margin of capital growth by the time we're ready. So that means we concede some profit margin to them so that they get. So what we're doing by conceding that is increasing the value they are potentially going to get by the time we hand over the unit to them. So if you look at the principle is identify who, identify how to make it easier for them. And then I'm going to use your example now and then identify how you can optimize and maximize the value you are giving to them. When you have those three together, people will want to actually partner with you. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's come back to you. It's about defining exactly who am I serving? Who do I want to serve? And then how do I make it easier for them? And what value am I returning to them? And you'll be shocked that a lot of people may not be able to articulate those things.
It's difficult. It looks simple on the outside. It takes a lot of discipline to be able to do your ICP. That's your ideal customer profile. And it's not so much as to the fact that it's not clear as it's supposed to. It's that discipline, especially in Nigeria, where you know that things are neither here or there. So people become so broad and so generic.
Yeah, that's part of
it's a lot of headache. At times you think you've made a success. You are sleeping this night knowing that, okay, this issue of ICP, I've laid it to rest. I never come back there. Maybe you now woke up the next morning. Somebody from another industry that you said not to be the priority call. You start.
Yeah,
do you get my point?
That's the problem.
The whole idea also is that if you go too narrow, at times it looks like you are going too narrow. Do you get my point? It's a bit tricky.
No, you can.
This whole narrowing down to the market to get an ideal customer, because most of the time you are not going to start a fresh base on a broad base. It's about finding a captive audience within an already established market that constitutes your blue ocean.
Let me say this.
The discipline to stay there.
Let me say this. I didn't learn this early on in business. If I had done, I probably would have done better than what I've done. And the lesson is that if you want to be successful as a business person, you probably say more no's to opportunities than you say the yes. That's number one. Number two is that it is not every good opportunity that is good for you. You understand? So there are good opportunities. There are good opportunities, but they are not good for you. So because we're clearly well defined, there are very good deals that are coming that you look at and say no to. You say no to because, and they're very good opportunities. So somebody brought a transaction. Now we will do Ikorodu. And the reason why we do Ikorodu is because there is a commercial center coming up around that axis because of those new roads they're doing, because of Egbin Power Station, because of Unilever, and so there are a lot of more the class of people we want to serve. Yeah. But up until recently, we will not touch Ikorodu because it's not 15-20 minutes from those. So we're looking at it. We will not do Lakwa and Co. until recently, now that those who want to work in free trade zone side. So it's becoming an epicenter for those people. But we've said no to a lot of deals. But till today, there's one of our patrons who has a lot of land-related property in Ikoyi. And we're saying, sorry, we can't because it does not fall. But it's easy to look at it and say, oh, I want to Ikoyi because our profile is the margin is much better. Yes, the margin is much better, but it is not our market. So that discipline to close your eyes. And then the only thought we're asking is, those that we want to serve, how do we make it better? So that's why we went into partnership with a mortgage bank. That's why we're actually an investor in a mortgage bank. That's why we're pursuing, how do we make mortgage easier for our people to access? is a single thought.
I get you.
Those customers are the center of every engagement, whether the physical asset side or the mortgage banking side or the investment or the finance side of it. It is those single market, that single focus. And we're asking, how do we make it better for them all the time? So, but most people, you don't chase opportunities, you chase market.
I think this is, if one can just get this thing you just said now, because I'm processing everything you're saying. Again, yeah, it's good people are learning. I'm learning more so it means that is markets that should be the priority first. Defining your market. Because within that, if you get the right market, then naturally products would, all things being equal, will work. Then you are serving that captive audience in a sense. And you're able to even now create some unusual advantage from that peculiar understanding of that market. Not to create a product first and start looking for who to buy. Is to say which market probably has the money, fits into my profile,
let me ask you some series of questions.
And let me
ask you some series of questions. And I see that trend everywhere. I'm going to mention specific product. And I'm sure that if I were to ask 2-3 people to write down, you guys will write this nearly the same thing. If I mention PiggyVest, you can give me an idea of who are PiggyVest customers.
Now.
You understand what I mean? If I mention Apple,
more primarily.
If I mention Apple, you have an idea. If I mention GT Bank, so what you've seen is that there is a market capture by those leaders in the market. They don't seek to do everything. You understand? So
I'm talking about PiggyVest. It's so amazing to know that they can extract so much in the wealth tech space, or let's just even say wealth creation. Let's go broad. From that audience where it's typically, before they came up, it was primarily dominated by millennials. In fact, the millennials and the rest will still do the normal asset management play.
Yeah.
But to say that you can get 5 million people, it's amazing. Like, some market looks like it's close in. Only that people are not looking into unmet needs to create a new subsegment.
So it's just about capture. So you'll be shocked that there's a new startup somewhere that is going to capture the market just immediately behind them. And then they grow. But the other thing you need to know is that market grows. There's also, just like there's cycles to everything.
Yeah.
So you start with this set of people. Remember, it's that same set of people that will now grow. So just hold on to them and continue to serve them. The problem sometimes is that if they are not careful, they still serve them as if they're Gen Zs as they begin to mature. They're young people as they begin to mature. So they now have to evolve so that they keep their market and continue to serve them, which is why your major obsession should be understanding those markets. So for you that you do a lot of B2B, is to understand exactly who, in terms of, if you're saying you want to focus on the financial sector or the tech sector, what is the scale, what is the size, and that determines everything that you do.
Yeah, actually, that's what I've done in the last 6 months. I can say I've made a good success out of that in terms of the discipline focus in terms of B2B sales. So I try, except something comes outside of that. The categorization is simple. Number one, priority. And at times, at the end of the day, too, I think, drawing from my experience, the market also calls you if you're sensitive.
Okay.
It's almost like you are sitting, the market calls you. So I've been seeing some traction from that sector, even organically, without doing too much. So I just felt this is where to dovetail into. That number 2 with tech. And all those things are obvious. Number 3, and those are the 3 priorities. Any other thing can be secondary, is FMCG and retail. And in fairness, you will see that there's a lot to unpack from that. In financial service sector, the universe alone, it's humongous. It's minimum of 5,000 companies. The question is, how many are you serving now? We've not even served all the verticals within it. So that's why I think the issue around it is that if an entrepreneur can discipline himself or herself psychologically and have that staying power, it's just a matter of time. That's what I'm realizing. But what you also said, which I'm not sure you were even focus, which is we should be talking in terms of B2B, in terms of, this generation marketing.
Yeah.
I think if somebody can unlock that on the B2C side, as you would focus on sector and B2B, I think it's going to be a massive, crazy stuff.
There's a span, there's a range in terms of age.
Yeah.
So once you understand, position behind that particular,
and you can grow with them.
You can grow with them. The other thing you do is you iterate for other. You can decide to stay, or you can decide to grow with.
Yes.
So if you decide to stay, it means you keep changing. And one of the ways to do it, I think it was MTN Toriola guy that I was listening to one day, and said one of the things they did was to bring in a lot of Gen Zs into their, use that they make decisions that are pertinent to them, because you may not be aware. Because you also need to understand that the handlers of the business will grow. So you need to actually be able to get infusion of new blood to reflect what is currently happening in the market and give them the wrong way to do that. So that's
over time you launch a new product to target that. Based on that.
The thing I would say is that the number one hindrance between, I said when we started that humility is one of the most powerful tool in business, and it applies when you are having conversations around are we getting it right? To realize that we may not be getting it right. And I keep asking the question, how do we get it right? And particularly for the entrepreneur, to allow significant influence from the market. And this is what I tell people sometimes. When we meet in the office, I challenge some of our guys and I could be very forceful, but I also try to soak in whatever it is that they're saying and doing. And you end up seeing that you make better results. So increasingly, I'm beginning to say that while I can set the overall direction, I want 50, 60, 70% of the influence to come from the people that I'm working with. But I'm also very careful, because I ask myself, the market we want to serve, how many of our people are in that category, so that I'm not getting feedback on the wrong.
Or even understand and study it the way
from the wrong
it's supposed to be.
So I'm not also getting influence from the wrong kind of market. So, but increasingly now, when we have conversation, I talk with people that we're serving, and I keep asking questions. How do we make it easy for you to buy? So somebody said, pricing. Because we realized and said, okay, pricing is a major issue. 3, 4, 50, 500. We said, okay, what if we do a 160, 180 duplex in Arepo? Arepo is 15, 20 minutes from Ikeja, about 20, 25 minutes from Yaba. So we have that conversation and say, okay, good, we could do 160, 180. Let's do a promo at 120. And then we say, raise 40 or 50, and then we give him mortgage for the balance over 10, 15 years.
So you are building products around that market. Still, we're emphasizing on the market and the needs.
Yes.
Not what you're assuming in your mind, in your head. You have to focus on the market.
So what is their problem? So what is their problem? And then we try to solve it. We know financing is their problem. Now we're solving it. So how do we make that financing sustainable? When we finish financing, one of the things we will obviously try to focus on is that apart from mortgage, what else do they need money for?
Because you already have them
auto finance, to finance the furnishing of their house. They need short-term loan. It's the same set of people that we want to provide that service for. And then we also know that a lot of them are tech, savvy. So can we offer them investment product that allows them to build long-term 10, 15 year time span kind of wealth? So we will offer them. So it's continuously just iterating around that. Yeah. But those we want to
clear understanding of that market, their obvious and latent needs, their growth and the attendant requirement for a sustainable and a successful life. So which means at the end of the day, empathy is also
the number one thing.
Very critical
You need
factor.
to be sensitive to
them. So the opposite of empathy looks to me like selfishness or ego.
I think it's just being obtuse about what the market needs, and thinking that, the market would like what we want. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be nice. We romanticize packaging. We look at it. It looks good on paper and all that thing, and it becomes the defining incentive for the actions. It really doesn't.
That also just in drawing it to a close now, we might still have to revisit this because there's a lot to unpack. But I think the essential, if you're disciplined enough to watch till this, you would have gotten, for me, I even have to go back and listen. But already as we're doing it, I'm highlighting certain things to see the things I'm getting right and things I'm getting wrong. One of the things we did, is to also look at, so that's why even reading market reports and all of these things really count in this game. So the whole idea is that if you get the market right, everything follows. So that means most of the time, the pain we experience in business, at times they are self-inflicted pains. You don't focus
say that. If you don't focus on the market, you're going to suffer.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah. So I think so. That's how. So I've seen. So you see, 2 heads are better than one.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been quite different from just doing the solo stuff, and I think for me, this is what I look forward to every week, and I hope that the audience feel the same. This has been a very, very interesting edition of Business Building Block. If you take some of this principle, we are builders, so we're not telling you theories. That's why even you can see that I've been scolded today. So we're learning. You get what I mean? So guys, please follow us across all social media platforms at Business 360 TV. Follow us, Dr. Sheyi.
At Dr. Olufemi Sheyi on IG.
Yeah, and he has a lot of solid stuff on his page. There are other content he does from time to time. Follow me at the Dami Olanrewaju across social, and we'll see you on the next one on Business Building Block. Thanks. Take care.